7 out of 10 Americans over the age of 65 will need long-term care in their lifetime. The average nursing home in this country now costs more than $10,000 a month. In some states, more than $30,000. But there is one group of Americans that almost never sees the inside of one. They have no retirement facilities, no assisted living, no memory care wards. They care for their own in their own homes until the very last day. They are the Amish. And what they know about staying independent after 65 is something modern America has completely forgotten. My name is Amos Yoder. I was born and raised in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. My grandfather lived to be 94 years old. He never spent a single night in a hospital. He never took a single pill for his heart. And he was still walking out to the barn on the morning he passed away. He was not a rare story in our community. He was a common one. Today, I want to share with you 4 principles, the old Amish way. 4 simple ancient habits that can help you, or someone you love, stay strong, stay safe, and stay home, long after the age of 65. The first principle is this: move with the day, not against it. In a study published in Medicine and Science and Sports and Exercise, researchers gave electronic pedometers to a group of old order Amish men and women in Ontario, Canada. They wanted to know what a human being looks like, physically, when they live the way most of our great-grandparents lived. The results were striking. The Amish men averaged 18,425 steps per day. The women averaged 14,196. Compare that to the average American adult, who, in a national pedometer study, walked just 5,117 steps. The Amish were walking roughly 3 times more than the rest of the country, every single day. The same study found that only 4% of the Amish adults were obese. The national rate at the time was nearly 31%, 8 times higher. Now here's what most people get wrong about this. They hear those numbers and they think, well, the Amish must exercise more. They must go to the gym. They must train. The Amish do not do any of those things. We do not own treadmills. We do not have memberships. We do not jog. What we do is something different. We move with the day, instead of trying to add movement to a day that has none. Modern life was designed to remove labor from your body. Cars to replace walking, elevators to replace stairs, dishwashers, washing machines, leaf blowers, riding mowers, remote controls, food delivery, automatic everything. Every single one of those inventions was sold to you as a gift. But what they really did was steal something. They stole the small, quiet, all-day movement that kept the human body strong for 10,000 years. And by the time most Americans reach 65, their bodies have not been used the way bodies were meant to be used in a very long time. The muscles are weak, the balance is poor, the bones are thin, and one bad fall is all it takes to end their independence forever. The old Amish way is to put the movement back. You do not need to walk 18,000 steps tomorrow. You need to stop avoiding the small ones. Hang your laundry on a line outside instead of using the dryer. Wash your dishes by hand at the sink. Sweep your floors instead of running a machine across them. Walk to the mailbox in the morning and again in the afternoon. Walk to a neighbor's house instead of calling. Stand while you peel your vegetables. Bend down to plant a tomato. Carry your own groceries in from the car, 1 bag at a time, even if it takes you 4 trips. Garden in the spring. Rake leaves in the fall. Shovel snow in the winter, slowly and carefully. None of these things are exercise. All of them put together are the difference between a body that still works at 80 and a body that gave up at 65. There is one more thing to know about this. Walking is not just for your legs. Walking is for your brain. Research published in the International Journal of Epidemiology found that older Amish adults scored higher than the general American population on standard tests of cognitive function. Not slightly higher, measurably higher, and they did this with only an 8th grade education. The researchers concluded that one of the strongest reasons was lifelong physical activity. The brain, like the body, was built to be moved. A person who sits all day is not just losing their strength. They are losing their memory, 1 quiet hour at a time. So that is the first principle. Move with the day. Refuse the machine when you can. Choose the small effort over the easy chair. Your body will thank you for it. Your mind will too. The second principle is this: do not live alone. In Amish country, when an elder reaches the age where they no longer want to manage the main house, they do not move to a facility. They move 30 feet. We build a small home. We call it the Gross Daddy house, the grandfather's house, connected to or right beside the main family home. It has its own kitchen, its own front door, its own small porch. The elder keeps their independence and their privacy, but they are never alone. The grandchildren run in and out all day. Meals are shared on Sundays at the big table. When someone is sick, family takes turns at the bedside. When someone is sad, family sits with them in silence. No one is ever asked to suffer alone, and no one is ever asked to die alone. This is not just a tradition, it is medicine. Hard, measurable, scientific medicine. A researcher named Julianne Holt-Lundstad at Brigham Young University published a major analysis that combined the results of dozens of studies on social connection and survival. What she found shocked the public health world. Social isolation increased a person's risk of early death by 29%, loneliness by 26%, living alone by 32%. To put that in perspective, the United States Surgeon General has since stated that social isolation carries a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, equivalent to obesity, equivalent to high blood pressure. Loneliness, in the medical literature, is now considered as dangerous as any chronic disease that anyone in this country talks about. And yet, modern American life has been quietly engineered to produce it. Children grow up and move 5 states away. A husband or wife passes on. Friends thin out one by one. The car keys get taken away. The hearing fades. And one day, an 80-year-old man or woman wakes up in a house where nobody has spoken to them in 3 days. That is the day the body starts to give up. Not because of disease, because of disconnection. I will tell you about my grandmother, Sarah. She lived in the Gross-Dotty house next to my parents' farm for the last 22 years of her life. She had her own kitchen and she made her own bread every Friday until the week she died at 89. But not a single day passed without somebody knocking on her door. My mother brought her coffee in the morning. My sisters came in the afternoon with the babies. My father stopped by after the evening milking. On Sunday, the whole family ate at one table. Sometimes 18 people, sometimes 30. She was never the center of attention. She did not want to be, but she was at the table every day. That is what kept her alive, and clear of mind until the very end. The Amish do not allow loneliness to happen. Not because we are better people, because we have built a system that does not allow it. We have a structure that puts the elder at the center of the family, not at the edge of it. And the research is now showing what we have always known. Studies have found that the elders in our communities have lower rates of dementia and Alzheimer's disease than the general American population, despite our lack of formal education. Lower rates of depression, lower rates of what doctors now call the diseases of despair. They live longer because they are not alone. You do not need to be Amish to live this way. You do not even need a Gross-Dotty house. What you need is to make a decision that loneliness is an emergency, not a personality trait. If you are aging, do not let pride keep you isolated. Tell your children you want to see them weekly, not on Christmas. Move closer if you can. Eat dinner with somebody 3 nights a week, even if it is the same neighbor every time. Join a church. Join a quilting circle. Volunteer at a school. Sit on a porch where people walk by and wave. The goal is not entertainment. The goal is that another human being, every single day, sees you, speaks your name, and would notice if you were not there. And if you are the child of an aging parent, listen to me carefully. The most important gift you can give them is not money. It is not a beautiful facility with a piano in the lobby. It is not a private room with a view of a garden. It is your presence and the presence of their grandchildren. A weekly meal at your table will do more for their health than any prescription a doctor can write. That is the second principle. Do not live alone. Build a life where someone notices if you are not at the table on Sunday. The third principle is this: keep your purpose. Do not retire from being needed. In our communities, there is no fixed retirement age. There is no number on a calendar that says, today you are finished. A person works until they cannot. And when they can no longer do the heavy work, they do the lighter work. When they can no longer plow the field, they sharpen the tools. When they can no longer build the barn, they teach the young men how. The hands change. The purpose does not. This is not about money. Most Amish elders do not need to work for money. This is about something much deeper. Modern science has now confirmed what our ancestors understood without ever putting it into words. Purpose is medicine. Researchers at the University of Michigan studied nearly 7,000 Americans over the age of 50. They measured each person's sense of life purpose, and then they followed those people for 4 years. The ones with the strongest sense of purpose had a death rate that was significantly lower than the ones with the weakest. A separate study from Harvard found that older adults with the highest sense of purpose had a 46% lower mortality risk over 4 years than those with the lowest scores. 46%. That is a number that quitting smoking would be proud to claim. And yet, most American doctors never once ask their elderly patients the simplest question: what is the reason you got out of bed this morning? What does the modern world tell a person on their 65th birthday? Stop. Sit down. You are done. Go play golf. Go on a cruise. Enjoy your retirement. And so a man who has worked with his hands for 50 years suddenly has nothing to do. No reason to wake up early. No one waiting for his work. No problem that needs his solving. 6 months later, his hands shake. A year later, his memory slips. 2 years later, he is on 3 new medications. The doctors will call it aging. We call it something else. We call it being useless. And being useless will kill a man as fast as any cancer. I knew an old neighbor named Jonas. He was 82 years old when I last saw him. walking slowly out to his shop every morning at 6:30 to mend bridles. His back was bent. His hands were spotted and slow. But every farmer for 10 miles brought him their broken harnesses, because nobody mended leather like Jonas. He charged almost nothing. He worked at his own pace. He sometimes took a whole week to fix something that should have taken a day. Nobody minded. They needed him, and he knew it. He died in his shop chair, with his hands still on a piece of work. That is how an Amish man hopes to go, not in a hospital bed. In the middle of being needed, the old Amish way is to keep the man and the woman needed forever. The grandfather still mends the harnesses. The grandmother still teaches the great-granddaughters how to bake bread and how to put up the summer tomatoes. The 80-year-old still has a chair at the dinner table, where his opinion is asked, and where he is expected to bow his head and say the blessing. He does not have to be strong. He has to be present. He has to be needed. You can do this without a farm. You can do this without grandchildren in the next room, but you must do it. Find a thing, one thing, that someone else depends on you for. Tutor a child once a week at the library, cook a meal for a neighbor every Friday, tend a garden that feeds a food pantry, keep a journal of family stories that you will leave behind for your great-grandchildren, teach somebody something you know. Make sure that when you wake up tomorrow morning, there's at least one person or one task that will be worse off if you stay in bed. That is the medicine. That is the reason to live another year and the year after that. When the Amish elder finally lays down for the last time, it is usually not because they ran out of years. It is because they finished their work. There is a difference between dying old and dying useless. The first is a blessing. The second is a tragedy. The third principle is to die old and never useless. The fourth principle is this: make your home your friend, not your enemy. Here's something most American families have never been told. The Centers for Disease Control has reported that falls are the leading cause of injury death for people over 65. Every year, about 14 million older Americans report falling. About 350,000 break a hip. Of those who break a hip, 40% will end up in a nursing home, and 20% will never walk again. And here is the number that should stop you cold. Falls are the direct cause of roughly 40% of all nursing home admissions in this country. Not Alzheimer's, not cancer, not heart disease, falls. Most older Americans do not end up in a facility because their mind failed. They end up there because one Tuesday afternoon, they tripped on a rug in the hallway. They slipped getting out of the shower. They missed a step at the top of the stairs. They lost their footing on a wet kitchen floor, and in 1 second, on one ordinary day, their independence was over. Their life as they knew it ended on the way to the bathroom. The Amish home, by design, does not have most of these traps. Our homes are simple. They are usually one story, or built with a sleeping room on the main floor. The floors are wood or linoleum, not piled with rugs you can catch a toe on. The lighting is high and even, from oil lamps and big windows, not a string of dim corner lamps. The furniture is solid wood, sturdy, heavy, with arms you can push yourself up from. The bathrooms are practical, with sturdy fixtures and no slick surfaces. The clutter is minimal because we do not buy what we do not need. Our homes were built, without anyone meaning to be safe for old bodies. You can do the same in any house in America, and you should start today. Walk through every room of your home and ask one question. If my body became weaker tomorrow, would this room still let me live in it? Then make a list. Remove every loose rug, every single one. They are not worth your hip. Install grab bars in every bathroom, beside the toilet, inside the shower, beside the tub. They cost $20 at any hardware store, and they will save your life. Replace every dim bulb in your house with a bright one. Put nightlights in every hallway and every bathroom, so the path to the toilet at 3 a.m. is lit like daytime. Move your bedroom to the ground floor if you have one. Get rid of the wobbly chairs and the soft, low couches you cannot get up from easily. Add a sturdy bench in the entryway where you can sit to put on your shoes. And if you take only one piece of practical advice from this entire message, take this one. Get a pair of real shoes with rubber soles and wear them inside the house every single day from morning until bedtime. Most falls in the home happen in socks and slippers or barefoot. Your feet need traction the way a car needs tires. The Amish elders. I grew up around wore real sturdy shoes from the moment they got up until the moment they went to bed. It is not glamorous. It is not soft. But neither is a broken hip, and neither is the nursing home you will spend the rest of your life in because of it. There is one more thing. Check your medicine cabinet. Research has shown that taking 4 or more prescription medications dramatically increases the risk of a fall. Many of these medications, especially the ones for sleep, for anxiety, for allergies, and for blood pressure, can cause dizziness, drowsiness, and unsteadiness in older adults. Go through your prescriptions with your doctor. Ask honestly, which of these do I still need? Which can I reduce? Which are working against my balance? You may be surprised how many can be safely lowered and how much steadier you feel on your feet when they are. That is the fourth principle. Make your home your friend, Take the traps out before they take you. Now let me bring this all together for you. The Amish do not have anything you do not have. We do not live longer because of magic. We do not avoid the nursing home because of secrets you cannot reach. We avoid it because we have kept 4 simple things that the modern world has been quietly throwing away for the last 100 years. Movement, not at the gym, in the day, from sunrise to sunset, in your kitchen, in your garden, on your sidewalk, with your own 2 feet, family, not on holidays, at the table, every Sunday and every Tuesday and every ordinary afternoon, with somebody who knows your name and would miss you if you were gone. Purpose, not a job, a reason, a thing only you can do for somebody else. A reason that the rooster crows for you specifically in the morning, and a home that works with your body, not against it. Bright, simple, safe, built for the body you will have at 85, not the one you had at 45. You can keep all 4. You can start with 1. You can start today. You can start in the next hour. Walk to your mailbox tonight and walk to it again tomorrow morning. Call your son or your daughter and ask them to come for dinner on Sunday and tell them you mean it. Find one small task that will help somebody and put it on tomorrow morning's calendar. Walk through your house before the sun goes down and pull up every loose rug you find. You do not have to live like an Amish person to age like one. You only have to remember what we never forgot, that a long life is not bought from a doctor. It is built slowly, day by day, with your own 2 hands, in your own kitchen, with the people who love you, doing the work that makes you matter. The nursing home is not your destiny. It is a building you avoid by living on purpose every day that God gives you. May the Lord bless you. And may you grow old in your own home, surrounded by your own people, useful and needed and known to the very last day.